I know that there are people that are trying to make intentional efforts. Like I think that, Paulo Arduino working with Lugano is part of a intentional effort. An intentional effort is needed for Bitcoin to succeed. But at the same time, there are people who, believe that hyper Bitcoinization will just happen on its own. I don't necessarily think that's true. I think, Bitcoin is humans. But I do appreciate that there is a certain quality to where if we're right about how Bitcoin works and what its effects are, there is a certain degree of inevitability. The idea, though, is that I think we would all like that to happen within our lifetime, and for it to not to take like 1,000 years for Bitcoin to win. And so we do things to try to, help with adoption. And so I don't know what the next countries will be, but I know that, for example, you have like Samson Mao doing Jan3 is trying to work on getting adoptions in areas to adopt Bitcoin, different countries and such. And so, well, hopefully he can make some progress. I know that there have been a few politicians and different countries or politicians within countries lobbying for ideas like making Bitcoin legal tender or, having favorable tax laws, these kinds of things. Um, I don't know what the best path forward is, but it's certainly nice to see people trying, and I will support. I will always support people trying to get Bitcoin and the utility of Bitcoin into more people's hands. I guess maybe on a negative side, I'll say I'm not interested in seeing like regulatory clarity or making things easier, or more clearly defined in a regulatory sense, or having more Bitcoin laws. I think laws are made to restrict, and so people asking for those things and people like trying to get close with politicians so they can have more law around Bitcoin is not necessarily going to be in our best interests, other than things like subsidizing Bitcoin or making it legal tender. In other words, Bitcoin rights are cool, but Bitcoin laws and regulations are not.